The prone military press. What we're going to do is lay on the ground and put our arms into a W shape. You want to make sure for this that your elbows stay below your wrists. What we're going to do is we're going to push our shoulders apart from our ears and then pinch them back together. Now, while maintaining that pinch and our elbows below our wrists, we're going to slowly try to extend our arms all the way out and then bring them back. Don't worry if you can't do a full extension, just go to the range where you can. The tempo should be 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to do this for 8 reps. We're going to enter the butterfly position or tailor pose, however you like to call it. Don't worry if your knees aren't coming down as low as mine are. It's okay if they're up in the air. We're going to be hitting our lumbar, so this responds negatively to intense stretching. We only want to be stretching this to where we can gently feel it. So once you start to feel it in your lumbar, that's when you should stop and maintain the tension there. I'm going to place my left hand on my left knee and my right hand behind my right leg. I'm going to push my upper torso away from that knee and then come down on my arm. If you don't feel it in your lumbar, you could then bring the arm on your knee, overhead your body slowly until you can feel it in your lumbar. You're going to hold this for 16 to 20 seconds on each side. We're going to enter the tailor pose or butterfly and do the same thing we did before. But this time, all we're going to do is extend the leg we are leaning towards. Nothing else should move. Now, we're going to try to extend our hand out towards our foot and grab it and pull on it. This is a modification so we can get our hamstrings involved with this. If you can grab it from the top, that's great. If you can grab it from the side, that's better. If you can't grab it all, that's fine. Just extend your arm and reach to where you can. You can pull pretty hard on your foot. We're going to hold this for 16 seconds on each side. We're going to sit down and we're going to match our forearm to our shin. And then we're going to put our hand on our knee and then pull our body down. I'm then going to be placing my hand onto my shoulder, and then I'm going to be rotating my upper torso, reaching my hand to the ceiling. You can rotate your palm towards your face to increase the flexion. Make sure you're moving slowly up and down. You're going to do this for 10 reps on each side, and you can hold it at the top for anywhere from 3 to 10 seconds. For the arm circles, you're going to slowly rotate your arms from small to big circles, and then from big to small. I don't do this for a time frame. I like to treat this like a slow spiral that gradually gets bigger and smaller. You want to make sure you're moving with your shoulders as you're doing this. For a warm-up, it's fine for you to just move your arms, but here we're trying to target our shoulders. So you want to make sure you're moving with your shoulders as you're doing the arm circles. We're going to lay on the ground with our body straight. You're going to put your hands by your side and then lift up your torso. This is the Sphinx position. Don't worry if you can't bring your body all the way up. It's fine if you can only get to your elbows. If you want to make this more intense, and you can turn this into a L Sphinx, where you drive your glutes down and forwards and pull backwards with your chest. This will increase the intensity in your lower spine. You're going to hold this for about 20 seconds. Immediately afterwards, you're just going to bring your butt back towards your feet, and this is the child's pose. You can try to have your head sink between your shoulders. Hold this for around 20 seconds. We're now going to do a backwards leg raise on our hands and knees. What we're going to do is we're going to straighten out our leg. While keeping our legs straight and our hips in line, we're going to try to bring our ankle to the back of our head. Make sure when you raise your foot to not open your hips. Make sure they stay in line. You're going to hold this for about 8 seconds. We're going to be on our hands and knees and feed our arm through to the other side of our body. We're going to reach as far as we can, and once we get to our max range, we're going to let our body weight sink into our shoulder. Don't push down on it, just let gravity do its thing and sink down. If at any point you feel uncomfortable, remember you can always adjust and re-enter. You're going to hold this for 30 seconds on each side. While on our hands and knees, we're going to put our hand behind our ear. We're now going to bring the elbow down to our opposite wrist, and then rotate our elbow up and see how far we can get it towards the ceiling. You want to make sure you're easing into the max range of motion, and you're rotating with your upper body, not your hips. You do this for 8 to 12 reps on each side. We're going to do a saddle to box. For this, our hands will be supinated in the saddle position. What we're going to now do is drive our glutes or hips forwards. If you can go far enough, you can then try to walk your hands towards your ankles. You hold this for 20 seconds. You're now going to squeeze your glutes and do it again. Remember to move slowly because there's tension inside of your legs this time. You want to make sure you maintain the squeeze in your glute. We hold this for 20 seconds. We're going to lay on our chest. Similar to when we were raising our legs straight towards the back of our head, we're going to do it, but we're going to be grabbing our legs this time, laying on the floor. Once again, we're going to be trying to bring our ankles towards the back of our head, and we're going to hold this for 8 seconds. Make sure when you release to not slam into the floor. You want to control it as you exit. For the closed leg forward bend, we're going to have our feet standing close to each other. It's okay if your knees are locked out, and it's also okay if there's a slight bend to your legs. You're going to push out your chest and put your hands on your thighs. You're going to now slowly lower your torso, and your hands will follow down your body. If you can get low enough, what you can do is place your hands on the floor and use the force to pull your body even closer to fold into your legs. Make sure you're stable the entire time. When you come up, make sure you slowly raise to prevent getting lightheaded. You're going to hold this for around 20 seconds. The Sushki Padushki is a stupid name I give this hand position. We have our palm towards our chest and our thumbs up. We're then going to interlock our finger and rotate them outwards and keep our arms straight. We're then going to bring them overhead. This is the Shushki Padushki position. The Shushki Padushki forward bend. We're going to have our legs be a step outside shoulder width. If you're on the relatively taller end, you can take another half step. So if you're around 6 foot or 185 centimeters. We're going to enter the Shushki Padushki and then lower our torso down. If your body gets low enough, you can try to wrap your hands behind your legs and pull yourself in. Remember to come up slowly as to not get lightheaded. You hold this for 20 seconds. We're going to enter the Shushki Padushki with our feet at shoulder width, and then we're going to lean our torso to one direction controlled. You want to make sure your hips do not move or push outwards. Try to also make sure you're not leaning forwards or backwards and you're staying straight with your body as you lean. This can be straining on your chest, so you can inhale when you're in the Shushki Padushki, so you can then exhale as you go down. Make sure you ease into that max range of motion, and you most likely will feel an imbalance between your sides. If at any point you feel uncomfortable with the position you're in, remember to slowly come up from the position. You're going to count to this for 16 seconds on each side. We're going to have our hands in a Shushki Padushki and our feet at shoulder width. What we want to do is rotate our upper torso as far as we can to one direction, while making sure our hips stay in line and facing straight ahead. As you rotate your upper torso, try to not let your hips move as you rotate. What you can do is rotate your upper torso, and as soon as you feel resistance or your hips give in, you can create a counter rotation with your hips. You're going to hold this for 12 seconds. We're not Shushki Padushki. We're interweaving our hands with our palms facing towards our back and our thumbs down. We're then going to have our feet a step outside shoulder width, and we're going to lean down with our arms behind our back. I like to think of this like I'm putting my arms on a table upside down. If at any point you feel that your hands are slipping and are about to come apart, don't freak out, just let them naturally separate. Make sure you then ease back up, resituate, and slowly enter again. You hold this for 20 seconds. We're now going to be targeting our deltoids. We're going to be putting our palms behind our back, raising our hands as high as we can, pushing out our chest, raising, pushing, and then we're going to come down and relax. Then you're going to swap your hands, raise, push, and then you're done. We're going to be standing up relaxed, and we're going to extend our arm out to the right. We're then going to rotate our palm up and bring it behind our back. You hold this for about 16 seconds on each side. Make sure you bring your arm back the same way it entered. We're now going to be folding our body towards our feet. The goal here is to bring your chest down towards your legs, not to reach out as far as you can. So I like to put my hands by my legs, or I can grab onto my feet to help pull myself down. Same thing applies to grabbing my legs to help pull my chest down. Elevation is your friend if you can't go all the way down. This way, you can still get the proper form and prevent imbalances. Make sure your legs stay straight. You're going to hold this for 20 seconds. For this, we're going to be stacking our ankles, stacking our knees, stacking our hips, stacking our shoulders, and stacking our wrists. You want to make sure you have 90-degree angles all around, as we're going to reach out our top arm as far as we can, and then bring it all the way around our body 180 degrees. Then you're going to bring it across back to your hand. Make sure you're moving slowly when you're doing this. It might feel sticky when your arm gets to the top. That's okay. You can try to work it out. But if you can't do it, you can just bring your arm straight across and straight back. You can make this harder by making sure your hand stays as low as possible the entire time. It's okay if you keep your chest closed during this. It's also fine if you open up with your chest as you rotate to the other side. Just make sure that your head also moves with your torso as you open it. Please take your time with this one, and you're going to do this 15 times on each side. And feel free to alternate between open torso and closed torso, however you want. For the supine twist, we're going to be laying on our back, essentially in a T-pose, and we're going to lift up one of our legs to a 90-degree angle with our knee bent. We're then going to bring that knee across our body and try to get it down to the other side. If this is a bit too difficult, what you can do is use both of your knees instead. It's fine if your shoulder comes off the ground. You can always force it down if you want to make it harder. This applies to both the single leg and both legs. Do this for about 30 seconds on each side. We're going to enter a position similar to how we would enter our easy bridge raise. With our hands supinated behind us, we're going to push out our chest and then extend our spine. The more you lift your chest, the more intense this is going to be. You're going to also push your butt towards your feet if you want to make it more intense. You can also raise your butt off the ground to make it more intense. This difficulty scales on how far you can lift your chest from the shoulder. You're going to hold this for 20 seconds.